here we are. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I sure can.
So, I'm demoing in the web page. Snapmail is more of a desktop app, but for this demo, I'm going to show you in the. For now, I'm going to show you in the web app. I can show you in the desktop app afterwards.
Super.
But it's easier for me to show networking or several nodes in the web app. So so here I spawn like 3 instances. I'll just enter the agent names, the usernames for each of the agents. And so it's kind of like Outlook or, like a email kind of desktop app. So that's your inbox, your file box. So it's new accounts here, so it's empty for now. And then you can write emails here. And the difference here is like, since it's for internal use, like in small offices or in small communities, then you have a directory of each agent, each node on the network. So you already have a list here of people on the network. And you saw them come online. So I can write a mail, subject, whatever here, and just pick to who I want to send the mail and send it. And so it will send in, I can maybe split the screen for better view here. So they each receive the mail. And when I select it, you see there's a acknowledgement receipt that is sent back to the original sender. And so it's like email, like you can select it and you see the subject. And I mean, it's not much, but it's working and it's a start, And I also had file sharing implemented. I don't know if I can demo that right now. I can, but is there something else first? Well, one funny thing about Holochain is, so you can delete mails, but since it's on your source chain, then you can never really delete something. It's always on your source chain. So it's marked as deleted, and you can find it in your trash. So it's like in Holochain, you have a trash, but you can never like really empty the trash unless you like really go into the internals of the database on your drive. But other than that, there's no reason for it to. I mean, it's like a normal email app. I just need to find some silly things to send.
Please.
I didn't think about that, but is it? And so yeah, the big topic with Holochain and file sending is like the size limit, since you're sending files on the network, and the way it works is it's cut in small chunks, and so you can send bigger files. But there's still this limit of around 16 megabytes. And I mean, even in current email, you're not supposed to send too big attachments. So that's somewhat of a limit right now. If I if I want to send some kind of attachment, I can send this basketball here, and so it's added here. I can upload more files. Then I select the person to which I send it, and there it goes. And it should receive. There it is. And so in your email here, you have the list of attachments, and once you select, it downloads. And here it is. So obviously here it's quite fast because I'm on a local network. I mean, Snapmail is supposed to be more of a local network thing, but I mean, you can still use it as a VPN also, but I guess that's the demo. It works.
Can you show us a little bit of the Holochain code and how it's working under the hood?
Ooh, sure. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, I can show you the Rust code. So I tried a pattern here of splitting the code in really a lot of different files, but so there's a lot of files, but there's not much code for that. Basically, here I have I made here is all my entries for this zone, and it's split up in three parts. I could do 3 different zones, but I tried to keep it. For now, I'm trying this pattern of just having everything in one zone, and so so there's like one zone that just handles the handle, the username, and then there's all the entries for handling the mails. And so the way it works is that when you send the mail, it will first write the mail in your source chain as an in mail, and when the recipient receives it, it will write it in his or her source chain as an out mail. And so you always have locally all the mail you received. So that's all and same thing for the acknowledgement. So in out, stuff like that. Something I can't really demo now is pending mail. Obviously, is that if the recipient is not online, you can still send the message, and it will be held by the DHT. And once the person comes back online, it will download it from the DHT and will be marked as delete on the DHT. And so the pattern that's not implemented yet is over time the DHT will still hold all the pending mail, because it will only be marked as deleted, but it can never be deleted from the DHT. So in the future, like the plan is to have throwaway DHT pattern, which means that like every week or every month, the whole DHT is trashed and a new one is spun up, and it will copy every non-deleted entry to the new one, but everything that was marked deleted will just not be copied back to the new DHT. So that's how you kind of control the bloat in some way. But more about the code here. There's the file handling part, which like I said, the file is a manifest that lists all the chunks, and then each chunk is a part of the file. Not sure which part of the code you want me to explain, but
that's cool. Actually, can we see how do we see the DHT?
Good question. I guess there's I mean, in as a user or as in the code.
No, yeah, like in the code. No, I was just wondering if we could see the populated DHT, because we know a few emails have been sent.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you have to. Yeah, I can't really show it right now, but I did implement like in the Holochain API, you can dump the source chain, and you can see what's in your source chain, but there's no dump for the DHT for now, so there's no really way to know what's in the DHT. I mean, for now, most entries are public. So if you see, I split like for the mail zone here, like I split between all the entries and all the zone functions, and like if you go into the mail, it's a HDK entry with fields in it, and since it's I guess it's kind of public for now, which means that even if you send a private mail to someone else, it's going to be stored in the DHT, even if that person is online. But that's something that's going to change in the future, where if the person is already online, the recipient is online, it's going to be sent by direct message, and so you can have private. So it's going to be a private entry on your source chain. Yeah. not sure what more I can say here, but the idea is if the person is offline, then it's going to be stored at the DHT. And something I have to implement that was not possible before is to just encrypt the message in the DHT. So it's stored in the DHT, but only the recipient has the key to decrypt it.
Cool.
And I did some validations of it, but validation is like the part you want to do last, because it's just like boring, making sure everything has data integrity, and at first you want to just code the features and make sure it works. But here in the callbacks folder, like I have every callback that the HDK wants you to implement. So that's why, like at first, when the zone is like Genesis, like initiated, like there's a path for the there's just a general path for the directory, so we know where to find all the directory where you can find all the handles of everyone on the network. And then like it's more like validation entries, and so for now it's like a big match here for each kind of entries, and most of them are fixed me's for now, but at least like it's ready to be implemented. Maybe the one that's somewhat implemented is the file manifest, where you have to make sure it's under the size limit of Holochain. So if I look into this, oops, file size. So here in the file validation function, I'm just making sure the file is over the current file size limit, and that's something like, I think I put 10 megabytes, something like that, which is good enough and a lot better than what I had before RSM. Like I had, since Snapmail is something I started last year, it was with the Redux version, and with the Redux version, like sending big chunks of data was very slow, and it kind of imploded over 5-6 megabytes. So but now with RSM, it's way faster, and now I put a 10 megabytes, but I think the real limit is something like 16 megabytes. Yeah. I'm not sure what else do you have.
I don't know. Is there anything else that you think's? I mean, either through the application, the code, like can you highlight some of the differences when you're designing Snapmail? So either from a development perspective or maybe a user perspective, but some of the differences than if you were using, say, Exchange or Gmail or some other mail client or mail server, sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, I never implemented any email software before, so I'm not sure the whole process for that. But for me, the big difference here is, for Holochain, is you're not implementing the email protocol. I'm redoing the email use case, but with Holochain. But it's not like the email protocol with all the client server things to do, and all the protocol, like the RFC, you need to respect. So this is more like self-designed protocol for emailing. But I guess the goal also of this. I mean, for now it's email, but then it's quite interesting to go beyond email after that. And since it's like receiving messages, then the message is text, but like I have implemented file attachments, but then it could think of other things like any kind of media or tweets or whatever. I mean, I don't know, like you can, it's really the pattern of sending things of messaging. But in a development, so I'm not sure to go back to email, I'm not sure what it implies, but the difference between doing it at Holochain and doing it with the email protocol. But I mean, you're also not tied to the DNS system, since you have all the username space to handle yourself and make sure I mean, right now I'm using agent IDs as unique identifiers, but what happens if two agents have the same username? Like, since in my Snapmail here, I can have everyone could be Alex, you know, like everyone can have the same name and it will reflect. I mean, since you're in a small office kind of settings, it's not really a problem. But like in email, that you can do that in email. And just to show here, like your agent ID can show up here, so you can differentiate by agent ID. But when you're designing in Holochain, it's like a different way to think about how the data will be held. You know, like it's really about. I mean, maybe I can show that, but I use that's how I have this model of Snapmail. Like it's
Wow.
all the entry types, and so you have to think of all the entry types, which are like the boxes here, and then all the links between them, which is more or less the red arrows. And it's since you know it's kind of a graph database way of thinking, but also in a decentralized way of having local access to data. So I mean, how to design Holochain apps is like I mean, it's new and it's trying to figure out the easiest way to design things. And for now, I'm using some kind of UML kind of design here, but for me it works. And like the way to read this is also that according to the color, it corresponds to a you know, public, private, or entry encrypted type of entry. So you know in a glance which data is in the DHT and which data is private. Maybe that was kind of your question before, but anything that's in the DHT will be in the green pending entry types, whereas everything else is private entries that are in the source chain, local source chain. And so then, yeah, I added like specific UML data here just to make sure I'm data complete here and what entries I have. But like several entries share the same type of data structure, so that's why it's kind of, I have white boxes here to represent this. But I think it's kind of difficult to track each links. I think the linking is like the most complex part, because you're like linking data in a graph database, and you need to think about how from this source chain from this entry can I get this information and this entry, and do I have to go by the DHT? Do I have to direct message and ask for an entry if you know the hash, like the hash of the entry? And so by doing this kind of design, you can see if like everything is here. You can see like everything is linked together. So there's, depending on what function you're programming or implementing, you can see if it can work or not. And if it's not working, then yeah, you need to add some links somewhere. And obviously, like some entries are not linked in a Holochain link kind of way, like file chunks and file manifest. There's no links because the manifest has in its data structure all the address of the chunks. So it's not a Holochain link, but you have directly stored the hash, so you can query it in your local source chain. Yeah, I hope I wasn't too fast. I mean, I don't know how much I don't want to go too deep in technical stuff also, but I mean, that's how I did it. Yeah, I guess, oh yeah, and here on the right, I was thinking of how can I expand from the mail, and just by changing the mail here, you can put some other type of information. So like a GIF, or I mean, I did the file, but it could be any kind of data you want to transmit, I guess. I mean, that's like for future thoughts, you know. But yeah, that's it.
Superb. Any parting thoughts?
Parting thoughts? Oh yeah, I do need to show the Electron app. I don't know if we have time for that.
Great. Yeah, please.
So I need to share back again. Here it's loading. So I don't know if you can see, like it's an Electron app with a menu and such, and it's the same interface. You know, it's an embedded web page.
Yep.
But you can change your so here I already have something set up, but when you first load, like you're asked like what network type you want to use. So recently I added MDNS support to Holochain, because once you're in local settings, you don't want to. I mean, the point of peer-to-peer and kind of distributed stuff is you don't want to configure a server and have to connect to a server to get network working. So MDNS is like a good way to have that. So you just have to install the app on each local machine, and with MDNS they will find each other automatically. But if you want to have a Bootstrap server instead, you can just enter the Bootstrap server. And so right now it's this one for Holo, but you can have your own Bootstrap server. And same thing for proxy and also a network ID. Like network ID is quite interesting, because if you want to have like your own private network of Snapmail, because there's like Snapmail is like one DNA, but you don't want to, since it's for a local kind of private use of your own network, you don't want to see agents from other networks, from other offices. And so that's where you kind of, you can type your company name or whatever, and that's kind of the UID of your network. And with that, it will generate a unique DNA hash for your network. And so that means you will only find people who type the same UID, even though you're using a public bootstrapping server. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Very cool.